So Canada had a choice: do something rational or make literally the worst choice possible. Green Banking Alliance. Carney helped create, pauses activities, holds vote on its future. So this will be extremely humiliating for Mark Carney because this is his thing. This is his dream. His dream was to gather trillions of dollars and funnel it into his net zero boondoggle. And it's all falling apart. It was falling apart before he ran for prime minister. 4 Canadian banks dropped out of it. Um, I seriously suspect it's a big reason that he ran, or maybe the major reason that he ran to be prime minister, that he wanted to be prime minister, is so that he could kind of just try and jam it through at the last, just push it through, use Canada as a net zero laboratory. Several members, including Canada's major banks, left group after Trump's re-election. The whole thing's falling apart. Europe is no longer reliable for him on this front because, well, the net zero that he's been championing has given them the highest electricity rates in the world and forced their economies to shrink. He was the spearhead. He is the UN climate envoy, finance climate envoy. It's him. It's on him. This was all his plan. The whole alliance is falling apart because guess what? It wrecks countries. So Canada had a choice: do something rational or make literally the worst choice possible. And you know how it went. You know exactly how it went. An international green banking alliance that Prime Minister Mark Carney helped establish is now suspending its activities and holding a vote to determine its future. The Net Zero Banking Alliance. And this is, if you control the money, you control behavior. And that's what this was all about. Forcing square pegs into round holes. Well, it turns out it doesn't work. And next thing you know, your economy is contracting and you're poor and you're talking about IMF bailouts. The Net Zero Banking Alliance is the industry-led banking element of the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. That's GFANZ. That was created when Carney was the UN Special Envoy on Climate Action and Finance. The NZBA is a global alliance of banks that has worked to help financial institutions make green investments that will help the transition to a net zero society and mitigate the impacts of climate change. None of it, and there's certainly nothing that Carney can do, no matter how much of Canada's money he extracts and wastes to turn Canada into his net zero laboratory. There is not one thing he can do to change global climate one bit, a millionth of a percent. There is nothing. Canada could disappear off the face. It could just be gone. Everybody could wake up tomorrow and Canada just doesn't exist. It's just forest. And it will not change global climate one bit. So the whole thing is a giant boondoggle, and it's just simply a way of funneling money into places where people like Mark Carney want it to go. Canada's 5 largest banks. I thought it was only 4. Canada's 5 largest banks all dropped out of the alliance in January. So this is probably actually bad news for Canada because it will make Carney more determined to turn Canada into a net zero laboratory and to try and salvage something of this, because it must be deeply humiliating for him to have this all. This is really his life's work, right? Putting this together. So it's from Matt Strauss. Mark Carney spent the 5 years before becoming PM leading the undemocratic Net Zero Banking Alliance, meant to defund Canadian industries, effectively impoverishing Canadians, so forcing behavior. Today, that project has collapsed. Thank goodness. Talk about failing upwards. Well, Mark Carney, I think, is one of those guys who got into that stream of people, elitist stream, where he went to the right school and then he had the right ideas and he schmoozed the right people. And you can just never fail after that. I mean, look, his tenure as governor of the Bank of England was a disaster, right? You can look up the articles from the UK yourself, and there's a million of them. It was disastrous. He printed too much money. He pushed the net zero relentlessly there, which has given them extremely high energy costs. Pensioners can't afford to heat their homes in the wintertime because of Mark Carney. Let's see. Chairman Jordan subpoenas As You Sow and G fans. Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. Geez, that's Mark Carney's thing. In an ESG investigation, let's see. Potential violations of existing antitrust laws through collusive agreements to promote and adopt left-wing environmental, social, and governance goals, ESG goals. What else we got here? House Republicans have investigated GFANS, specifically focusing on its GFANS initiative, Net Zero Banking Alliance, and its relationship with, guess who? Chinese organizations. You know that place that has even worse tariffs on Canada than the U.S., but the media doesn't seem interested at all for some reason? And that keeps being busted, helping liberals get elected like Mark Carney, and it's just no big deal. Yeah, that place. Expressing concerns that the alliance was working to influence U.S. climate policy in ways that could benefit China's economy. Canada's a joke at this point. The States is picking up on this and doing something about it. Canada elects the guy running it prime minister. That's why I say Canada's a joke at this point. House Committee Chair sent a letter in January 2024 to the Energy Foundation, citing reports that the foundation's China branch had provided grants to U.S. climate advocacy groups. You can't be having that. You just can't. Sorry. I think Mark Carney could feel his net zero, his crowning achievement, his net zero crowning achievement. I think he could feel it crumbling away in his hands. That's why he wanted to be prime minister, so he would have the power to try and still ram this stuff through, no matter the cost to Canadians or how much it wrecks the country. And yeah, I think it's going to be even worse now. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.